Hey everybody. So Cale Makar played his first NHL game last night for the Colorado Avalanche. And oh boy, what a stud the Avalanche have in this kid. And I've been saying this all year. I've been a huge Cale Makar fan all year. Obviously, he went to UMass Amherst. He was playing for UMass Amherst literally on Saturday in the national championship game where they lost to Minnesota Duluth. But being from Massachusetts and following college hockey in the area, and Hockey East especially, I've been so high on Makar. Everyone who's seen him play knows how good he is. Best player in college hockey this year, and it wasn't even close. He was the clear-cut Hobey Baker winner, and he did win the Hobey Baker. This kid is just absolutely phenomenal, and I'm telling you right now, he is going to be a superstar in the NHL. I mean, just look for him now. He's playing in college on Saturday, and on Monday he's playing an NHL game, and not just an NHL game, an NHL Stanley Cup playoff game, and a very important Game 3 for the Colorado Avalanche in a 1-1 series tie. And, Colorado just came out and smashed Calgary last night. Absolutely smashed them. And now Makar was basically a third pair defenseman, and it's, he's going to be, he's not going to jump right in and be a number one D-man. I mean, God, it's going to take a little, he still has some developing to do. But when you look at his skill set and the potential that this kid has, he has the potential to be an elite defenseman in the NHL. His skating is unbelievable, and we saw, in college, he stood out every time he was on the ice. Cale Makar was never not the best player on the ice once this season in college. He was never not the best player on the ice. And you could see this coming, and you knew that his game was going to translate well because he's such a good skater, and NHL hockey is such a skating game now. If you can skate, you have a really good chance of doing really good things at the NHL level. And Makar can skate, boy. And, he was so good all year. You knew he was going to be good at the NHL level, even right away, but you didn't know how good. He just jumped right in last night, and to me, nothing about his game looked out of place at all. His skating was fantastic. He jumped up into the play when the opportunity was there. I think overall he played well defensively. He wasn't put in a lot of difficult defensive situations because obviously he's just a kid, and you're not going to throw a kid in his first game into those types of situations. And Colorado's defense pairs last night weren't really defense pairs. They were mix and matching everybody. But Makar did play a lot with Ian Cole, which I think was a phenomenal move by the coaching staff of the Avalanche. Ian Cole is a defensive defenseman, a veteran who has been around the league a long time and very strong in his own end. So you put Makar with him so Cole can kind of cover up any defensive mistakes Makar would make, even though he really didn't make any or many last night. But he was willing to jump up into the play. His skating game was fantastic. He moves the puck great. And he's better defensively than I think a lot of people realize because he is an offensive defenseman. But one thing I noticed with him at UMass Amherst was, a lot of times these offensive defensemen get, reputations of, sure, they put up big points, but sometimes they can be a little iffy in their own end. And obviously the offense makes up for that, but sometimes they're not great players in their own end. I think we saw that a lot with Erik Karlsson, especially early in his career, where he was kind of a defensive liability, but man, could he put up points. Well, with Cale Makar, one thing I noticed at UMass Amherst was I was surprised with how good he was in his own end. Yes, he put up a ton of points, and he can score, and he can rack up assists, but, he plays well in his own end as well. Now, that end of the ice takes a little longer to develop, especially at the NHL level, which is why defensemen take longer than forwards to really come into their own and into their prime at the NHL level. But I think Makar's going to be very good in his own end, and he's physical too. I didn't notice last night any particular, him throwing any big hits or anything, but he did in college. He was a physical player in college. And again, I think he's only played one freaking game. I think as he develops and as he gets more experience and more comfortable at the NHL level, that he's going to, that physical game is going to grow more and more, because he, at least in college, he was not afraid to throw the body around. And I think if he develops that at the NHL level, you are going to have not only a tremendous offensive defenseman who can rack up, God, I see 60-point seasons in this, 70-point seasons in this kid's future. Not only are you going to have a tremendous offensive defenseman, I think you're going to have a tremendous all-around defenseman. And I think that's really important, because there are offensive guys who can score big points, but then they struggle defensively. But Cale Makar, I don't think, is going to be that type of player. He is going to be a guy who can give you 50, 60, maybe even 70 points at his elite prime level as a defenseman, while also playing well in his own end, playing physically, having good stick position, and keeping the puck out of his own net, which in the end is the main job of a defenseman. So I think Colorado has an absolute superstar in the making with this kid. I've loved everything I've seen about him in college, and his first NHL game, scores his first NHL goal. I loved what I saw from him last night. He didn't look nervous. He didn't look out of place. He didn't look uncomfortable. And the Colorado coaching staff did a very good job of keeping him, in good situations, and, really putting him in positions to succeed on the ice. And I think as his confidence builds, as his comfortability, I don't know what the word for that would be, but as he gets more comfortable at the NHL level, as his confidence continues to grow, and as he continues to develop as a hockey player, he's still just a kid. As he is going to grow into one of the premier players in the NHL. I see that coming in his future. I mean, look out, 4 to 5 years down the road from now, I think you're going to be talking about Cale Makar as a Norris Trophy candidate, maybe as an MVP candidate. This kid is going to be phenomenal, as long as he stays on the track that he's on right now. But I have loved everything I've seen from him, and I think if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan, you have got to be ecstatic about this kid, and I think you're going to see a tremendous player. He's going to be really, really good. So I'm very, very high on Cale Makar right now. Obviously, I love what I see. So with that, if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan, you should be very, very excited. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.